Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? Joshua here. Man. All right, so, night of. Oh, wow, my watch is still on. Okay, look at this. 12. Right, where is it? Where's. Oh, I gotta switch. Okay, well, it's already too late here. 12:21 a.m. Night of Saturday, March 20th, morning of Sunday, March 21st. Let me set this down somewhere first. Okay, current temperature 59 degrees. So, it's not exactly 40 or 42, but it's let me tell you something. It has been so hot, so incredibly hot. Um Pretty much every single day since the last one of these I made, which was exactly a month ago. Um It has topped at least 90 degrees every day to 95 degrees most days. And the overnight lows have been, in the 70s, like around 75. So it'd be like 95 for the high, 75 for the low. That's summer. I mean, like ask anyone. Like wherever you live, that's just summer weather. That's not even warm. That's hot. And this is winter in the northern hemisphere, you know? So, 59 degrees after 90 for like 30 days in a row, you know, it it you really feel the difference. You really feel the difference. So, it might as well be 40 right now, basically. Because comparatively speaking, you know, yeah, this is where it's at. So, so yeah. All right. Now that we've got that little introductory spiel out of the way, can I actually switch cameras? No, I can't. All right. Oh well. I don't know. Whoa! What just happened? What did I do? Okay. Well, I hope everything's all right. Anyway, but yeah, let's see. So yeah, now that we got that introductory spiel over with, it's on to the main event, the meat and potatoes, so to speak. You want to hear me update you on my ramblings and I mean that's why you clicked on this, right? I mean, what else could you be expecting from this? All right. So for like the two people that watch these, let's see. Well, quite a lot actually. Quite a lot happened. February 20th was the last one, huh? All right. So everything in the past month. Hmm. Wow. Yes, I have evolved quite a bit in the past month actually. Only begs the question, where do I go from here? You know? Where do I go from here? That's the big question. So I remember saying in my last one, and I haven't rewatched it or anything since then, but I'm just going off memory here. I remember in my last one saying that I think things are looking up for me, and that the next jaunt my life will take is a positive turn. And I guess in a roundabout way, that's kind of true. It's uh, a lot more moving parts to that than I guess I thought. I may have been a little bit naive at that time, or may have been neglecting a few details, more than a few details actually, because it's not really that black and white. Your life is just not black and white. It's not good and bad. That's just not how it works. There's a lot of there's a lot of variables, a lot of conditions, and a lot of just details. Life is a very complex thing. Very complex, it is. Human beings are complex creatures. I mean, we're simple. We definitely are, but we're also complex. So, that's probably the most cryptic way I could put it, but, okay, so let's go over, well, things did get better, like, straightforwardly better from there. I was doing pretty good at that time, and I kept that hype train going for at least a few more days, probably a week, actually. A couple of great days at work, great, times with my coworkers and, just people in general that interact with there and everything. You're doing great with that, doing great with college, doing great with the family and everything. And then we get to the next interesting chapter, and it's always interesting. Every year it gets more complex and more interesting, actually, which is the fair. Now, if you notice, I actually didn't talk about it at all on my channel this year. Usually I'll make some kind of post or a video, or I'll mention it somewhere online that, hey, I'm going to be at this fair, open to close every day. So if you want to stop by and say hi. I didn't do that this year for a few reasons. And I don't think I really have enough time to delve into why, I don't really want to make the video about that. We're probably already like a third of the way over because there's only so much storage I have on here right now. But I did go every day, open to close, to the St. Lucie County Fair. In case you're wondering, St. Lucie County, Florida. It's where I live. I actually live pretty close to the fairgrounds, so it's not really that far of a drive from me. I got the Mega Pass and everything. It's the only fair that I've been to so far with the Mega Pass for all 10 days, and it's the price of like 2 days. So it's just like, if you're planning on going more than once, you gotta get the Mega Pass. It's the only way to go, So, yes, I was there, and that just kind of consumes my life for those 10 days. That's like all that's on my mind. Oh, I actually requested off from work for those 10 days just so that I can go to the fair every day, open to close, and not have to worry about work getting in the way. That's how seriously I took it. And nobody knew until afterwards that that's the reason why, because they're like, the confidentiality and whatever, they're not, supposed to ask why or whatever, so they just assumed it was some, like, I made it sound like it was some, like, super serious, like, family thing or whatever, and, like, I found out afterwards, one of the managers actually said, like, yeah, I saw you at that fair every day, like, whatever. It's like, oh, man, you didn't say hi, like, but anyway, so yes, and a lot of interesting times at that one. Very, very interesting times. There was one not so good night, toward the beginning of the fair. I think it was like the second night. But, that could have been due to a variety of factors. I don't usually engage in certain recreational behaviors that a lot of you folks seem to participate in regularly. So, and when I do, it's not usually it's not ever in an environment like that. So I think that probably, that may have just been the whole reason, actually. It's like, you're probably just freaking out, because he's just having a bad trip or whatever, but, yeah, so and that was unfortunate because there were a bunch of people I knew there that night, and I was trying to just be cool and relax and everything, but I ended up just having to bail, and yeah, and I just got home, and I was just not in a good state of mind. And it followed me into the next day, actually, which is scary, because that doesn't usually happen. Whatever that does happen, that's how you know it's serious. you know, and so yeah, so the next day wasn't very good either. But uh, yeah, so besides that, the rest of the fair was actually pretty good. Um, and that was one thing that helped me um, measure myself, basically, in terms of mental growth from where I was last year, is just my attitude towards things, and you know how I go about spending my time there, and who I talk to, and how I behave, and all that stuff is um, very different from years prior. I'm just a lot more confident, a lot more outgoing, a lot more like adaptable, you know, a lot more it's like just easygoing, and a lot more like, daring, and whatever. I still got a long ways to go, obviously, in all those departments, but it's still like, I would come home that, each night and be like, wow, you know, I'm proud of you, man. Like, you did good, Joshua, like, just in terms of like stepping out of my comfort zone and stuff like that, just the general attitude. And I'm not talking about like going on rides or eating food or whatever, because I've always, I've never had a problem with that. I just mean like mostly with like social things, and people, and all that stuff. And just, even myself, you know. But and I attempted to make actually a Lava Lamp Chats video during, or a Cold Night Chats video during that day, because it got to like 68 degrees, I think, one night, and so I was like all excited. But I think it was actually during the fair, and so it got very like philosophical and spiritual very quickly. I was just talking about how you know I realize now that everything in the universe is connected, and all living organisms are actually like one collective consciousness, and all that stuff. Which, I mean, I'm certainly not discounting any of that, but you know, I think I kind of was too immersed, too zoomed in on a specific thought, to make the whole video about that. Um, but yeah, I guess that is one thing, one way to look at it, I suppose, from the fair specifically. Anyway, we're probably over halfway through already, so let's move on to the next bullet point here. So, after the fair, let's see, back to work, and I feel like, now you know what, no. All right, so what else? Um, well, I've had some very productive conversations with my family members, and particularly, the older ones, my parents, my older siblings. Conversations that, I've avoided for as long as I can remember, because the concept of them made me uncomfortable, and that's just all part of expanding my comfort zone, you know. Um, it's just like, okay, well, you can't go wrong just being honest, you know. It's just the best thing in the long run, You gotta conquer the stigma, You gotta get over it. Yeah, you gotta like stop worrying about it, because the amount of times that you replay the scenario in your head without actually doing it, like all of that stress of just thinking about it is like so much more intense than just actually doing it, but just once, because then you do it, and then it's and that's done, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. You're like, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad, you know, and so that's what happens. And, you know, beyond that, I mean, it's a whole thing, I guess, about um, just bottling things up. I mean, I'm a very sensitive person, and there's times that I forget that. Like when I'm just feeling amazing, and on top of the world, I think like, oh well, like whatever. But I forget that that's also part of being sensitive. Is I'm sensitive to good things too, and one little insignificant thing can make my day, can make me feel invincible, But it's the same thing with negative things too. It's just with everything. Like things just stick to me. And I never thought that was the case. I always bragged about how like, oh, I just shake it off, anything negative that happens, in my life, I just move on, and keep smiling and whatever. And it's like, well, maybe on some level that's true, but it definitely does leave an imprint. Everything that I experience, leaves a signature on me, you know, and it these things, kind of just change my frequency, and that's another. There's really only been two main episodes, I guess, that I've had since the last one of these. The first one being at the fair, and the second one was a realization by me that, how can I phrase this? You know what? I don't think I'm ready to talk about it yet. Maybe by the next one, because it's still too fresh. I'm just formulating things. Um, but yeah, so everything, so I just found like earlier today even I was just thinking like, how stressed am I? Am I a stressed out individual? Am I a stressed out young man? Like, because that's one thing, that I'm very conscious about. It's one thing I hold in very high regards, is my um, outward expression to the outside world. You know, my contribution to the world, is it positive or is it negative? And oh, okay, so that's what the other freak out or meltdown or whatever you could say was. Um, Me examining my environment, and more specifically the people in it, and determining that it's not what I think is suitable for me, and not who I should be around, and the environment that I should be in, and everything like that. And I just get scared that if my environment's mostly negative, or things that I don't agree with, or I don't want to associate with, or whatever, that finds a way inside me if I spend enough time around it, and like you know begins to make me more like it. And I was just kind of scared then of what I might become if I stay, I guess, was the main thing there. Um, so, I mean, that's interesting. I've never really had that happen before. Um, but I mean, I guess there's a certain degree of truth in that. You are your environment. I mean, people are a combination of genetics and the environment that they're around, right? So the environment is the people in your life, and the places in your life, and the things in your life. And so, you know, you got to think like, well, how might these people, places, and things be affecting me? Like what type of energy do they give off? But anyway, it's besides the point. I was just thinking about me, per usual. Just thinking, well, what kind of energy do I give off? What might people think about me? Because there's a lot of people that don't like me. That's something I found very interesting. Is it's pretty much a 1-to-1 ratio. It's pretty much split down the middle, 50 to 50. Um, People and most people have very strong feelings about me. They either just absolutely love me and just think I'm the greatest guy ever, and I'm so cool, and I'm so smart, and I'm so funny, and I'm so handsome, and all this stuff, whatever, you know. But yeah, and then the other half of people are just like, oh, I can't stand that guy. He's so annoying, you know. He's so like, incompetent, or he's so like, full of himself, or he just, like doesn't know what he's saying, or whatever, whatever it might be, um, or offensive, or whatever. Um, and I find it's pretty much 1-to-1, So like, well, that's really interesting, like. So does that mean that my energy is sort of like at net neutral then? Like, does that mean there's as much negativity that I exude as there is positivity? And I was thinking, like, well, it's very hard to recognize things within yourself, that are irritating. Where you might pick up on it on someone else quicker. And I was like, well, that's how it is for everyone else except me. Everyone else can see me as a person that's separate from them, so they judge me as another person, as where I judge me as myself. So that's just a really weird dynamic. Um, and I also thought a lot about assuming things. I was very curious, like, well, what do people assume about me? Because the human mind just has this insatiable need to fill in the blanks. Whenever there's something we don't know about something or someone or whatever, we just like fill in the blanks for ourselves because we can't take the suspense, the mystery. And a lot of times people, for a number of reasons, just don't ask questions, about people. They just kind of assume for themselves, and then they kind of like make that their reality. And then if something happens or somebody does or says something or whatever that goes against that, then they get like, upset about it because subconsciously they've already accepted their, what they assumed as their reality. So, well, that can't be true because that goes against this, even though their assumption isn't based on any fact. So I just find that interesting. And I realize that I'm just as guilty of that as everyone else. Believe it or not, I'm not immune to human error and faulty, imperfect human practices. My mind is just as sloppy as everyone else's. So, like I realized, like, wow, I really assume a lot of things about people, don't I? Like just based on one interaction, I try to do like a whole psychoanalysis on people. It's like, whoa, like, come on, man, you know? But, so it also gets me thinking, like, well, assuming everybody does that, what might people assume about me? That might be real interesting, And how far from the truth are these assumptions? And it's just not really a question to ask people like, hey, what do you assume about me? You just kind of have to piece it together for yourself what their version of you is. You just kind of like slowly got to find out, like, it kind of comes through a little bit at a time, and they treat you like this version of you that they perceive you as. And like I said, I'm guilty of this too. I do this with other people as well. And if I find out something about them that's like, well, that can't be right. That's not what I have here in my notes. Like that's not what I thought. I was like, well, that's just life for you. Um, but yeah, let's see what else. I'm surprised this is still going. Actually, maybe we're gonna get the full 30 minutes. Who knows? Let me sit down. I've been on my feet all day. Um, but yeah, so basically, I've had my ups and downs. Really, only two big downs. Really, only two times, and I guess for like 2 days each, that I was like really not okay, and just really in a state of mind that is very volatile and very self-destructive and just unsustainable. Where if I was in that for basically any longer than I was, it does, permanent damage, and it's a really serious thing. Um, but the rest of the time, ups and downs. I mean, it's easy when things get a little uncomfortable to just want out. To just want to bail on everything and just be like, I just can't do this today. I just don't. I just like I just want to. I just want to skip today. The chapter skip on today and just go to tomorrow. I'll probably feel better tomorrow. Or like I just want to go to later today. I just want to skip the next few hours. And so we just immediately scan our environment for tools of escape. What can I escape into now to just, what can I bury myself in to just forget about things and to distract myself from these unpleasant thoughts and all that. And that's just how a lot of people go through life. It's a shame. And, but there's definitely days that's just how it is for me. And it's weird. I was saying, a few months ago in one of these, I think, um, I talked about how, I was finding it hard to resist falling into old habits, that I broke in there. Things, uh, engaging in self-destructive behaviors, or things that aren't good for me. And now it's sort of the opposite thing, where, because I just wanted to do everything, but you can't do everything because some things aren't good, some things are bad, so you can't do those things. So now it's kind of the opposite problem, where I just don't want to do anything. And that's very scary. It's kind of bleak to me because I never thought that it'd even be possible for me to to be that way. I thought I'd always, like, I don't know, but just laziness is the only way to put it. I just don't feel like doing anything. And so now the struggle is trying to get myself to do things that are healthy for me. Well, exercise, eat healthy, practice the guitar, uh, you know, practice good hygiene, talk to people, go to work, do your assignments, like all these things. It's like, I don't want to. It'd just be a lot easier to not do that, And then I have to like give myself pep talks like every few hours just to be like, well, this is why you have to do it. You have to. It's not even a choice. Like, it's not even you should do it. You have to. You wouldn't be you if you didn't. You know. So, just everything. Like, I have over a year of progress working out now. I'm not just gonna stop. I'm not just gonna throw it all away because what? Because I don't feel like it. I absolutely have the time, and I have the resources, and I have the ability to. So there's really no reason for me not to. You know. So I gotta do it. Eating healthy, I mean, I feel so much better when I eat healthy. But I don't realize that until after. Until after I have the salad, I'm like, wow, I feel a lot better now. But like before, like when I'm debating whether or not to make it, I was like, nah, I don't feel like it. You know, like I just want to eat some fast food. Whatever. It's like I don't know, just just the short term things. Like, no, I don't feel like going for a run right now, or a swim, or a bike ride. Like, nah, I just want to lay in bed, Or, yeah, well, you'll feel a lot better once you do, once you do exercise. I'm like, nah, I don't feel like, you know, playing the guitar tonight, whatever. It's like, yeah, but you gotta do it, Like, and I think that's, in one way, something having a job has really helped me with in terms of, like, I don't feel like going to work today. I don't feel like talking to people today. I don't feel like just doing things today. Well, too bad. You have to, Like, you want to have money or not, Like, this is what you have to do. And so, I mean, in another way, of course, it's one of the reasons why I don't have a lot of energy is because I'm wiped from that. But, you know, um, I think it's probably more helpful overall that, I have something like that that just forces me to, get up and at 'em, So, well, now the concern seems to be, okay, well, uh, so I'm getting prompted by my phone here to wrap this up because we only have probably like a minute left until the storage is full. So let's see what else did I want to say. There was like a whole bunch of things I wanted to say, and I said maybe like 3 of them. So that's always seems to be what happens. I don't know. I mean, you know, you're not alone, I guess. And going back to the whole, collective consciousness, unity thing, whatever, like, yeah, it's kind of comforting, I guess. You're not alone. You're definitely not alone. Whatever you're feeling, you're not the only person that feels it. That I can guarantee you. So, you do things anyway, even if you don't feel like it. You do it because you'll feel better once you do. Fake it till you make it, I guess. If you're not happy, smile even bigger, and then you'll become happy because you've been acting. Act like you do when you're happy, and then it'll make you happier. There's actually some science to that. That's actually like a legitimate thing. Act like you do when you feel your best, when you feel your worst, and then it'll help you feel better. So, yeah, that's what I do, and I can testify it's worked wonders for me. Because if I just mope around all the time, that's gonna make me feel so much worse. Trust me on that. You're not gonna feel better by just, you know, wallowing in whatever you're feeling. You gotta like rise up and break it. So get out there and do things and talk to people